It is the Riot Podcast, the Wednesday, November 22nd edition, Thanksgiving Eve. And so, of course, there's some Thanksgiving talk where we discuss. I actually think I threw Isaiah for a loop by bringing up Thanksgiving leftovers and kind of a brain-wrinkling theory on Thanksgiving leftovers. So that's in there.
We also talked about why getting a real tree for Christmas could be dangerous.
It could be real dangerous.
Could be stressful.
I'll tell you right here up front, I don't recommend it. Do not get a real tree. If you are considering it, I would advise against it. We also have a good segment on parents that are trying to help out their kids at college in a problematic way. I think we can agree. It's a good show. You should definitely enjoy it and have a great Thanksgiving. Also, don't forget, if you haven't seen, there's a bonus podcast in this feed as well. So enjoy that one as well. And we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
I got to tell you about a little bit of a debate my wife and I got into yesterday. Because I was thinking, like, Thanksgiving coming up, right?
I like how you call it a debate, not an argument.
Well, yeah.
Never got heated?
No, it's not heated.
Darn it.
There was no tempers didn't flare or anything like that. But we did exchange words over my thoughts of this year for Thanksgiving, and I imagine many families do this, right? That you prepare some of the food ahead of time.
My family started preparing last night.
Already started, right?
My dad was peeling potatoes last night.
Yeah. So my wife is going to be making a lot of the food today. And so she was strategizing because otherwise you have like competing for the oven, like trying to time everything. Whereas you can just make a bunch of stuff today leading up to Thanksgiving, refrigerate it and reheat it a lot quicker and easier. And it makes all the food warm at the same time. So she's planning on doing a lot of that stuff today. But it had me thinking that, like, you know, after Thanksgiving, it's so exciting to get leftovers. But when you do it this way, what I said to her is, now we're having leftovers on Thanksgiving.
That's not right.
And she was like, no, they're not leftovers because they have to be left over from something, and they're not left over from something. And I said, well, it's still the same thing. They were cooked beforehand and reheated. And so we got, I guess I don't even know what the question is. But it's just a real...
I think the question is, if it gets put in the microwave, is that automatically a leftover? And do other people do this for Thanksgiving? I don't know. My dad was peeling potatoes last night.
Yeah.
But did they? They didn't make the mashed potatoes last night, did they?
I don't know, but that was the first thing. I mean, we agreed on this, and I'm not upset about it. I just said, but you realize we're having some leftovers on Thanksgiving. And so then when we have the leftovers later, we'll be having leftovers. But...
this just tossed me in a whole circle, because now I don't know if my parents will make food yesterday, because I don't know how the food making process is. I know the turkey gets put in.
The turkey's got to be on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but I don't know if the cheesy potatoes, and the mashed potatoes, and everything else that we make on Thanksgiving, green bean casserole, is that all just re-warmed?
It depends.
If so, I feel as if that's kind of weird.
Why? I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
I'm not saying that we need to bust our behinds and make it all that morning. I know that'd be hectic.
Uh-huh.
But also, I didn't think about it being heated back up, because if I imagine heating food back up, I feel like it wouldn't be as good.
Well, that's not always true.
Not with everything, but
usually with pasta, everybody says Italian food, like lasagna and chili are the two things that are better the longer you let them sit. But that's what me and my wife, we had to agree, we were going through the Thanksgiving plan. What things can you make ahead of time that'll still taste as good when you reheat them? So that, so mashed potatoes was the first thing that we agreed, of course. So yeah, I mean, what is the question? If you make it ahead of time and then put it in the microwave, does it count as a leftover? Even if nobody's eaten any.
Is everybody doing this? Is everyone doing this? Or is everybody making it the day of? I'm curious about that.
All right, let's see. Are you making any of your Thanksgiving food before
time,
Thanksgiving and then reheating it. 8772 Radio U.
Nobody does it better. The Riot Radio U.
The question is, do you make all of your Thanksgiving dinner ahead of time? Because I don't think for me and my family, at least like, as long as I've been with my wife, I don't think we've really made much of it ahead of time. But this year we decided like that just makes sense, actually. But then it threw me for a loop because I was like, wait, then we're eating leftovers on Thanksgiving for Thanksgiving, which is fine. Isaiah just came to this realization, I guess, as well. And so now it's the question, is that what's normal to do, is actually to make a lot of the stuff ahead of time? And apparently, I guess it's unsurprising. The answer is yes. David does say they make it all the day of. But he is the outlier. Dylan says, desserts you definitely make the day before. I'll prepare everything I can the day before. That way, it just needs to be cooked the day of. So even if you're not cooking stuff, you could put like the cold ingredients together.
But that doesn't count.
Because then it's not a leftover when you actually first eat it.
He's prepping. I would prep too.
Yeah.
But it sounds like Dylan's still cooking it. Anything that needs cooked, he's cooking it on Thanksgiving. But desserts, cold, day before.
So he's peeling the potatoes and mashing, but not boiling them.
Yep.
Right? Maybe? I don't know. Ben says, I'm making the cranberry sauce tonight. But that's cold, right? You're not reheating that. That's you. I don't usually eat cranberry sauce. Do you? It's definitely served cold, though.
It is, yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
As far as I know.
Of that. So that makes sense to prep the day before, of course. He also says that he does Thanksgiving at his sister's house, so it's easier to just make it ahead of time than try to make it at her place. Of course.
Because then you're another guy in the kitchen.
Yeah, and that's another thing I was thinking is a lot of people, like it's people from different households. Of course, if you're bringing something, of course you have to make that the day before, you would think. Philip says, pies, deviled eggs, gravy, and some others are made the day before.
That's still sounding like,
that's all cold stuff, but not gravy.
Now,
when I was growing up, my family, you could not do the gravy. The gravy was on the last thing because you used the turkey juice until we started deep frying the turkey. You use the turkey juice which is a weird phrase, turkey juice. My dad would use the turkey juice from the oven to make the gravy. And that was some good gravy. Frog says, stuffing is pretty good a day or two old. But I think most of Thanksgiving, still, it ages well. It all, like, what part of Thanksgiving, if it's on Tuesday, Giving Tuesday rolls around and you still have leftovers, if it's on Tuesday, maybe it's there because you didn't like it in the first place. But if it's still there, you still got whatever your favorite thing from Thanksgiving is on Tuesday, you're still going to eat it because it still ages well, right?
Regina says it's a mix of what her mother-in-law does, but what it drives her mad is her family puts the food out uncovered on the table, so it sits for at least 15 minutes, a little cold by the time they get to it.
That's no good.
Regina, don't be afraid to put your mother-in-law in place.
Yeah, right. Have a little talking to. You know what you do, Regina? You just bring your own roll of tinfoil and start putting that out.
Just on top.
Yeah, you're just the tinfoil
that's so
police.
Passive-aggressive.
Yeah. No, but is it not worth it, though?
That could be your job.
Yeah.
Once they sit down, be like, you know what? We're just going to put this on here for now.
Let them argue their side after you start doing that. They'd be like, what are you doing?
You want it to be cold?
Yeah.
Is that what you want?
You just thought it would be nice to have warm. You'd be real passive-aggressive. I just thought it'd be nice to have the Thanksgiving dinner be warm when we eat it.
Isaiah says they got it all done yesterday.
Dang.
He's ready to roll.
You go get her.
He must have a lot of food cooking up.
Yeah.
What about this? I think about this as well. What would you rate your Thanksgiving?
What do you mean?
Like you said, you're cooking things right now.
Yeah.
Are you thinking tomorrow? Like you're feeling top tier?
As far as
when you comp
my preparedness level, or compared to other people's Thanksgiving,
compared to when your parents do it, because it sounds like you're doing Thanksgiving just yourself.
Yeah. My wife is in charge of it. Mm-hmm.
How do you think it's going to comp to your mom and dad's?
Well,
the rest of the fam.
I guess it would be hard for me to answer this without possibly making somebody feel bad. I think my wife does a really good job with all the sides. But what I will say is my parents would deep fry a turkey.
Oh, you're not doing that, are you?
Yeah, we don't have a deep fryer of that caliber. So
it'll be different.
No matter how good my wife did with a roast turkey, it wouldn't be as good.
I never had a deep fried turkey.
Oh, I can't believe we've never done that.
We should do it here on the show.
Yeah, we should. Get my dad to bring his fryer.
There we go.
This is Radio U's Worst of the Riot.
When I tell you my jaw hit the floor when I started reading about this, did you know that there are certain Facebook groups where parents, particularly moms, will use these groups to arrange meetups? Some call them play dates for their children that are in college.
That's a tough one.
It's
a tough Facebook group.
It is. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. These groups where parents can get together. They can be like, hey, Johnny at University of Chicago doesn't really hang out with anybody that I know of. Do you guys have kids that are also at University of Chicago that might want to meet up, do something with Johnny? It's an actual thing.
See, I would say this sounds a little wild, but I'm going to try to justify it, right?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I think that maybe when they're first making the transition from high school to college, there could be some reason for that there.
Justification, okay.
Yeah, stuff like my kid's going to, let's say he's going to Illinois.
Yeah.
And their mom's in a Facebook group with other people whose kids go into Illinois, and you're like, oh yeah, my kid Johnny likes this, this, and that. You could introduce them when they first go.
Okay.
But once
That's
they're
a
there,
first.
you got to let them go.
Yeah.
You got to let them do their thing.
Let them spread their wings.
You can say, here's this kid, this kid, this kid, whatever. They can introduce when they first get there, like the welcome week. That way they feel like they have a couple friends when they first arrive. That's okay. But when you're like a sophomore, when you're a junior, they got to be hands off. They got to just do it themselves.
This goes much deeper than that. Obviously, it's setting up meetups and play dates. I mean, they're calling them play dates, but I mean, we're talking about kids in college. So these are grown people. I don't know what kind of playing they're doing.
Call them hangouts.
Hangouts. They're arranging hangouts for their college student children on their behalf. They're also, it goes further than that, though. They'll also, like, for example, use these groups so parents can locate restaurants that would be suited to their child's dietary requirements. So it could be like, again, this is a thing. It looks like at the University of Chicago. So it'd be like, hey, Johnny's going to the University of Chicago. He can't eat any gluten. What are the best gluten-free restaurants? And I'll forward these along to him.
Not with that either.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is it, you think this is more of a problem with the parents or the kids?
Parents, 100% the parents.
Do you think they're helicopter parents?
Yes, way too much. Because they got to realize, right?
Mm-hmm.
That on college campuses, there are a million events going on every single day.
Mm-hmm.
For people to meet each other. That's like literally there's lots of people who are organizing events every day to meet other students, to make friends, to do whatever. All you have to do is go to those. So if you're willing to go to those, then you don't need the meetups.
It sounds like these kids, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like these kids, these college students, they aren't taking the initiative themselves. They don't want to go out and do this stuff. Or they just know that their parents are going to take care of it, you know? Like I don't have to, I'm not comfortable meeting somebody on my own, but if mom sets me up, then sure. Mom, do whatever mommy says.
Yeah, you can't be doing that. I'll tell you right now, you can't be doing that.
I'm sure the parents
And if you're the parent, what kind of parenting is that?
Yeah. It's, you know what? I bet you a lot of these kids, these college students, they're the eldest child.
We just had a text come in, and then Johnny comes back after college and never leaves his parents' house.
Exactly. This is, I think it's partly on the kids, partly on moms not being able to let go, you know?
Yeah.
You got to kick them out of the nest like a baby bird. Let them sink or swim on their own.
Oh, hi there.
This worst of the riot.
Crank that up.
Radio U.
Right around this time, a lot of people this weekend, are going to be going ahead and picking out their Christmas tree if they get a real one.
Time.
Have you ever had a real tree?
We have done a real tree many a times when I was growing up.
Yeah, not anymore.
I don't know if my parents are going to do a real tree. Probably not, because they don't have us to help them go get it. They're real busy around this time.
You know what? A few people find out, it looks like every year, if these would be people that are getting their real tree for the very first time in their lives, is that some people have what is called Christmas tree syndrome, where an actual Christmas tree could send you into anaphylactic shock. Basically, I guess you're allergic to whatever, the pollen, whatever's in a Christmas tree. And you wouldn't realize that until that Christmas tree is inside your home when you've already spent your hard-earned money and now all the pollen and everything is inside your home and you got to go to the hospital. Pretty scary stuff.
It's estimated about 7% of the population suffers from this allergy.
That's pretty high.
But don't you think you'd know by now?
Apparently not, because, I don't know. Yeah, there's got to be people. You grew up with an artificial tree, and then you get out, you're on your own, you're married or whatever. It's like, you know what I'd like to do this year? I never got to do as a child. I want my first ever real tree. Until you have a real tree, I don't think you know how much it actually is worse than a fake one. So there's got to be people every year that do this. And, I'm seeing stories about them here that they're real excited to get that real tree for the very first time and not realizing that it actually could potentially put them in a hospital or worse.
I've been seeing a lot of TikToks recently because people are getting their trees.
Yeah.
And they say that for a lot of couples, if this is their first time getting a real Christmas tree together, also is a good relationship test.
Is it?
Oh, that's what they're saying. I've seen many a TikTok saying, we almost broke up due to having to go get this darn Christmas tree because it's so stressful to go get it. And then get it in your house and set it up, and it's just a lot of work. It's
not nowhere near as easy as an artificial tree.
Have you and Angela ever done a real one?
No, because we're not stupid.
Because you don't want to have to end things.
This is how bad it is.
You want to stay together.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, my dad, and I hate to just rail, I hope his, Oh, yeah,
I forgot about this. This is funny.
My dad works at a Christmas tree farm. If he said...
What a betrayal.
If
That's
he
unreal.
said to me, I will get you a free real Christmas tree, whichever one you want, the nicest one in this farm, I'd say, no, I don't want it. We did have real trees a couple times when I was growing up. But I wouldn't want one now. It's too much. Why would I do that? Why would I want a tree that I have to chop down potentially?
It's about the fun. It's about the fun.
Haul on my car, bring inside the house, get needles everywhere. Then I have to put the lights on it somehow, and on top of decorate, keep it watered, make sure it doesn't dry out, and then chuck it out. And then try to chuck it out at the curb one day when there's sap and there's needles.
The traditional Christmas.
Trying to actually get it to stand up in the stand. That's an underrated thing. That's not as easy as you think, from what I remember. When an artificial tree is just so easy. And then you just get some candles. You can simulate the smell. It's good enough.
It's a tradition thing. For some people, it's a real, I know my roommate, his family always gets a real tree, and they have a real big, high-ceiling living room.
Yeah.
They go and get a humongous tree. And so that's like a big tradition for them.
Yeah.
It's about the Christmas season. There's a lot of work goes into it, but, the memories are created.
Yeah.
Some of them good, most of them bad.
I don't fault anybody. If you enjoy having a real Christmas tree, that's your thing. But I think it's insane.
Wasn't that a great Riot clip? While you're here, you should watch more of our videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.